Pakistan has carried out a missile test as tensions with India intensify, while the Pakistan Air Force has displayed advanced Chinese weaponry, further escalating the situation. In response, India has imposed a series of restrictions, including halt. Pakistan has carried out a missile test as tensions with India intensify, while the Pakistan Air Force has displayed advanced Chinese weaponry, further escalating the situation. In response, India has imposed a series of restrictions, including halting mail, imports, and ship arrivals from Pakistan, as the conflict heats up. India has withdrawn its nominee for the International Monetary Fund just before the organization is set to consider a $1.3 billion loan to Pakistan.
China's military has disclosed specific information about the Type 094 nuclear submarine for the first time. Tensions between Japan and China have escalated as both nations accuse each other of infringing on airspace near the contested East China Sea islands. This conflict has intensified following an incident where ultranationalists reportedly flew a plane over the Diaoyu Islands. DeepSeek's AI model is reportedly being utilized to develop new Chinese warplanes, according to a leading engineer.
More than 18 million high school graduates in the Philippines lack the basic reading and writing skills necessary for daily life. In a move to advance its educational sector, the United Arab Emirates has introduced artificial intelligence technology for schoolchildren. In California, Democratic lawmakers have voted against a proposal to impose stricter penalties for individuals who solicit sexual services from teenagers who are 17 years old or older.
Ireland has imposed a fine of €530 million on TikTok for transferring data of EU users to China. Facebook was reportedly caught when teenage girls removed their selfies, which the platform used to target them with beauty advertisements. The messaging app, a clone of Signal, which was utilized by the Trump administration, has been hacked.
A report by Waymo indicates that robot access are already contributing to enhanced road safety. Uber has entered into an agreement with Momenta to introduce a robotaxi service in Europe by the following year. Furthermore, it has been reported that a Waymo robotaxi was stopped by the police in Tokyo.
People who frequently use saunas often claim to experience improved health, increased energy levels, and heightened happiness. Research indicates that liberals tend to display less empathy towards those with opposing political views compared to conservatives. A majority of individuals hold the belief that they are more deserving of good karma.
That magnetar starquakes might be capable of creating gold in the vastness of space. Furthermore, evidence supporting the existence of the debated Planet 9 has been identified in sky surveys conducted over a span of 23 years. By the year 2027, all newly constructed homes in England will be equipped with solar panels. In a recent weather modification experiment conducted by China, a small amount of cloud seed was used to generate an impressive 30 swimming pools worth of rain. A study has revealed that satellites that are nearing the end of their operational life can contribute to climate change and the depletion of the ozone layer. Warren Buffett, who is 94 years old, is resigning from his position as the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Google is willing to consider sharing real-time bidding information with its competitors, although it opposes the idea of being broken up. In China, the number of coffee shops has increased by 12,000, reflecting a growing demand among the general population, which is impacting Starbucks negatively.
Mexico's president has stated that she declined Trump's proposal to deploy U.S. troops across the border. Trump has acknowledged making this offer to Mexico, but he claims that Sheinbaum is so terrified of the cartels that she can't even walk. Trump mentioned that he doesn't rule out the possibility of using military force to manage Greenland, although he noted that it is highly unlikely for the U.S. to deploy military forces to make Canada the 51st state. Furthermore, Trump has declared that he will only agree to the complete dismantling of Iran's nuclear program.
Archaeologists examined the dimensions of 50,000 ancient dwellings to gain insights into the historical development of inequality, discovering that it is not an unavoidable outcome. Genomic analysis reveals that all roses, whether red, pink, or white, originally were yellow. A biotechnology company has developed a weight loss pill designed to replicate the effects of gastric bypass surgery.
A man who voluntarily injected himself with snake venom for a period of 18 years has contributed to the development of a significant new antivenom. Research has shown that the brain plays a crucial role in sensing the body's metabolic state, which in turn influences the circulation of monocytes. Furthermore, in the United States, the Food and Drug Administration has recently given its approval for the first CRISPR-edited pigs intended for human consumption.
Putin expresses his hope that nuclear weapons will not be necessary in Ukraine, while also asserting that Russia possesses the strength and means to conclude the conflict there. Trump indicates that he might walk away from the Russia-Ukraine negotiations, pointing to tremendous hatred existing on both sides. The BBC reports on the staggering losses Russia suffered in Ukraine in 2024, noting a rate of 27 lives per kilometer.
Pence describes the unsuccessful January 6 attack as a victory for freedom while accepting the JFK Profile and Courage Award. A book reveals that Biden's aides opted not to conduct a cognitive test in early 2024. A former Bush housing official alleges that the government has allocated $21 trillion to construct an underground doomsday base.
Rubio and the German Foreign Ministry engage in a heated exchange on X, with Rubio accusing Germany of tyranny in disguise while Germany defends its classification of the AfD as an extremist group. In the UK, Starmer is strategizing to adopt a stricter stance on migration to address the challenge posed by Farage. Exit polls indicate that a far-right supporter of Trump has advanced to the second round of Romania's presidential election rerun.
In the United Kingdom, there is a proposal to prohibit local councils from displaying flags that are considered politically progressive or woke. In Germany, Friedrich Merz has assumed the role of chancellor following a significant loss in the initial voting round. Cardinal Erdo from Hungary is gaining popularity among conservative circles as a potential candidate for the position of pope.
A recent study has discovered that cinnamon could potentially impact the effectiveness of certain prescription medications. Chronic pain sufferers might find relief by acquiring the skill to manage negative emotions. Furthermore, a psychologist suggests that a significant portion of the British population is now identifying as neurodivergent. Tensions between Russia and Ukraine have escalated as they engage in drone attacks against each other, occurring just prior to Chinese President Xi Jinping's scheduled visit to Moscow.
Hamas asserts that there is no value in continuing truce negotiations with Gaza if Israel persists in what it describes as a hunger war. Meanwhile, Israel is reportedly considering occupying and completely destroying Gaza if no agreement is reached before Trump's visit, with an Israeli minister suggesting that Gaza should be completely destroyed and its residents relocated to third countries. Additionally, the Netherlands is advocating for a re-evaluation of the EU-Israel trade agreement due to what it calls the catastrophic blockade of aid to Gaza.
The United States has imposed sanctions on a Myanmar warlord and a militia associated with cyber scams. In Peru's northern region, gold mining activities have been halted following the tragic deaths of 13 miners. The International Court of Justice (ICJ) has declared that it lacks jurisdiction in a genocide case brought against the United Arab Emirates, UAE. This development comes a month after Sudan accused the UAE of providing support and complicity in genocide at the World Court.
U.S. crude oil prices have reached their lowest point since 2021 following OPEC+'s decision to increase production in June. The European Union is considering imposing tariffs on €100 billion worth of U.S. goods if negotiations do not succeed. China has criticized the United States for the serious negative impact of the tariffs imposed by former President Trump as trade discussions are about to commence. Trump refutes claims of sharing an image of himself as the Pope, dismissing criticism. Trump declares Washington, D.C., as the location for the 2027 NFL Draft. Trump intends to reveal that the United States will rename the Persian Gulf as the Arabian Gulf, according to AP sources.
Google inadvertently discloses information regarding its upcoming Android design language, known as Material 3 Expressive. Microsoft has officially included Fedora Linux as a supported distribution within its Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL. Cisco has introduced a prototype chip designed for quantum networking. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has instructed a reduction of 20% in the number of top military leadership roles. Former President Trump announced that a truce has been established with the Houthis, who have agreed to cease targeting ships. The Wall Street Journal has reported that the United States has instructed its intelligence agencies to intensify their surveillance activities in Greenland.
A recent poll indicates that the majority of Americans rely on federal science information on a weekly basis, as reported by NPR. Trump is considering the elimination of the long-standing Energy Star efficiency program. Europe has committed to investing €500 million to attract scientists, contrasting with Trump's ongoing conflicts with universities.
In the United States, authorities have apprehended and charged 764 individuals who were involved in running a worldwide child exploitation operation. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has reported that Instagram's recommendation system has been suggesting connections between individuals known as groomers and minors. Switzerland is taking steps to prohibit the physical punishment of children.
Governor Newsom has indicated his openness to collaborating with President Trump on a proposed $7.5 billion federal tax credit aimed at supporting the U.S. entertainment industry. The White House has stated that no definitive decisions have been reached regarding movie tariffs, as they continue to consider all available options. Ford has announced that tariffs are expected to result in a $1.5 billion financial burden for the company by the year 2025. Furthermore, Mattel, the company behind Barbie, has revealed plans to increase product prices due to the impact of Trump's tariffs. Uber has collaborated with China's Pony AI to introduce self-driving taxis in a significant market located in the Middle East. Tesla is advancing its LiDAR-free self-driving technology in China while awaiting approval for its full self-driving (FSD) system from Beijing. Waymo has set a goal to increase the production of its robot Axis at its Arizona facility by doubling the output by the conclusion of 2026.
In April, Xbox games dominated the PlayStation Store, occupying the top 3 spots in sales. Minecraft has announced the end of its VR support. In the tech sector, Seagate anticipates a significant increase in hard drive capacity, predicting a tripling by 2030 due to the rising demand for AI. Across the pond, Deliveroo has reached an agreement for a £2.9 billion acquisition by its American competitor, DoorDash.
During a meeting in the Oval Office with President Trump, Canadian Prime Minister Carney firmly stated that Canada is not for sale, it won't be for sale, ever. In response, Trump remarked, "Never say never." Bloomberg reported on this encounter, highlighting Carney's attempt to engage Trump through discussions about real estate. Britain and India have reached a £5 billion free trade agreement, which includes provisions for visas and tariffs on products such as cars, textiles, and whiskey. CNN noted that the first vessels transporting Chinese goods, subject to 145% tariffs, have arrived in Los Angeles, but they are only half full, raising concerns about potential shortages.
The Trump administration plans to withhold wages from 5.3 million individuals who have defaulted on their student loans this upcoming summer. According to CNBC, the impact of Trump's trade tariffs has expanded to encompass nearly all exports from the United States, as indicated by supply chain data. Purchasing a home in the United States now necessitates an additional $50,000 in annual income compared to renting.
India launched military actions against Pakistan in response to the murder of tourists, while Pakistan claims that Indian aircraft were shot down. The International Monetary Fund's April outlook anticipates that India will rise to the position of the 4th largest economy by the year 2025. A recent report indicates that India's film, television, and streaming sectors generated a total revenue of 1.1 trillion Indian rupees during the fiscal year 2024.
Denzel Washington and Spike Lee collaborate for the 5th occasion in Apple's chic new crime thriller. Apple TV Plus renews the studio for a 2nd season. Google introduces a film production project aiming to offer a positive perspective on technology, contrasting with Black Mirror.
The Trump administration has requested a court to dismiss a lawsuit that limits access to an abortion medication. An analysis has revealed that the term Biden was one of the most commonly used words in the Trump White House. In the United States, the Supreme Court has allowed Trump's ban on transgender military personnel to remain in effect while the legal case proceeds. Donald Trump's criticism of green energy might negatively impact the United States in the artificial intelligence competition, according to warnings from data center experts. NBC plans to utilize AI technology to recreate the voice of the renowned NBA narrator Jim Fagan for the upcoming season. In the United Kingdom, the Solicitors Regulation Authority has given its approval to Garfield, an AI-driven law firm that charges a fee of £2.
Researchers have discovered subtle indications that ancient Mars experienced rainy days as well. The UK government has acknowledged that there is nearly no evidence to suggest that nature protections hinder development. The earliest known remains of a domestic cat in America have been discovered in a 466-year-old Spanish shipwreck located near Florida. Tether has ventured into the artificial intelligence sector with the launch of Tether.ai. New Hampshire has become the first state in the United States to enact a bill establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Furthermore, under Trump's administration, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, has ceased enforcing the rule concerning buy now, pay later arrangements, marking another step in the reduction of consumer protection measures. Samsung Wallet introduces a new tap-to-transfer feature that is compatible with both digital and physical cards. Google reveals AI Max for search campaigns, promising a 14% increase in conversions or conversion value while maintaining a comparable cost per acquisition. Tuvalu celebrates a significant milestone with the introduction of its first automated teller machines.
Reuters has announced that Shein and Temu are increasing their advertising efforts in the UK and France, following the impact of US tariffs. Both companies have experienced a decline in US sales in the week immediately after the tariff price increases were implemented. TikTok, which is currently facing the possibility of a ban in the United States, has reassured advertisers by expressing confidence and stating that they remain present. In another development, the U.S. government is advocating for the division of Google's advertising businesses. Furthermore, NVIDIA's CEO has expressed that being excluded from the Chinese AI market would result in a tremendous loss, while AMD has cautioned of a potential $1.5 billion reduction in sales in China, despite having a more optimistic outlook for 2025.
Baidu has filed a
NSO Group is required to compensate WhatsApp with over $167 million due to a spyware operation. A significant number of leading e-commerce platforms are currently being targeted as a result of a vulnerability in the Magento supply chain. Credit Suisse has agreed to pay $511 million as part of a settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice regarding a tax-related issue. Pakistan asserts that Chinese-manufactured J-10C fighter jets were deployed against India's Air Force. Reports indicate that China is celebrating the J-10C fighters' alleged success over India's Rafale jets during the recent India-Pakistan conflict, praising the PL-15 missile. India claims it targeted Pakistan's radar during the clash, with speculation that the radar system was of Chinese origin. China has expressed its steadfast support for Pakistan amid escalating regional tensions with India. Both China and the United States are observing the unfolding India-Pakistan crisis from the sidelines. Disney and Myrtle have revealed their intentions to develop a new Disney theme park located in Abu Dhabi. Napoleon's personal saber is set to be put up for auction at Droghett. Nintendo anticipates selling 15 million Switch 2 consoles as it prepares for the upcoming launch.
Apple is shifting its focus towards AI-driven search capabilities, marking the conclusion of an era dominated by Google. Anthropic has introduced the Claude Web Search API, placing its bets on the future of information access beyond Google's influence. Google has committed to financing the creation of 3 new nuclear power sites.
Apple is in the process of creating specialized chips for its upcoming glasses, new Mac models, and AI servers. The company is considering changes to its iPhone release schedule and introducing new designs. Eddie Q, an Apple executive, has suggested that artificial intelligence might eventually replace the iPhone within the next decade. Meta is resuming its efforts in facial recognition technology, as concerns about privacy have diminished. Huawei has introduced its first laptop that operates on its self-developed Harmony OS, following the expiration of its Windows license.
A recent study has discovered that individuals who naturally require only a short amount. Turkey's highest court has affirmed a contentious law that permits the culling of stray dogs. In Brazil, there is a significant increase in scorpion stings, with reports showing a 250% rise as these arachnids appear to be taking over urban areas. South Africa's premier national park has witnessed a tragic event, with over 100 vultures succumbing to mass poisoning.
In the United States, the Justice Department has revealed the outcomes of Operation Restore Justice, an FBI-led nationwide initiative that resulted in the arrest of 205 individuals involved in child sex abuse. Among these arrests, 5 occurred in the Eastern District of Michigan, and 115 children were successfully rescued. Additionally, federal officials have criticized a new law in Washington state that mandates clergy to report child abuse, labeling it as anti-Catholic. The Catholic Church has responded by pledging to excommunicate any priests who adhere to this law. Meanwhile, conservatives have leveled accusations against Prevost, suggesting he concealed abuse cases in both Peru and the United States prior to the conclave.
China has reported that the United States has requested a trade meeting to be held in Switzerland. In April, China's exports experienced an unexpected increase of 8%, even as new tariffs imposed by the United States came into effect. Concurrently, in the United States, imports from China have plummeted to a level not seen in 2 decades, as the impact of President Trump's tariffs becomes more pronounced. President Trump has expressed that an 80% tariff on Chinese goods appears appropriate, as discussions are set to commence.
Linux has ceased to support 486 and early Pentium processors, a move that comes 2 decades after Microsoft made a similar decision. There are allegations of data manipulations in a study that played a crucial role in the development of Microsoft's quantum chip. Furthermore, Cobalt, a company supported by Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, is considering a lithium project in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The FDA has declared the successful completion of its initial pilot program utilizing AI for scientific reviews and has set an ambitious timeline for implementing AI across the entire agency. OpenAI and the FDA are in discussions regarding the application of AI in the evaluation of drugs. Reddit is planning to enhance its verification processes to prevent the infiltration of AI bots that mimic human behavior. Furthermore, Stripe has introduced an AI foundation model specifically designed for payments and has announced a more extensive collaboration with NVIDIA. The Wikimedia Foundation has initiated a legal action against the newly enacted UK Online Safety Act, contesting its provisions. The Lockbit ransomware group has been compromised, leading to the revelation of their negotiation tactics with victims. Google has identified a connection between the recently discovered Lost Keys data theft malware and Russian cyber espionage activities. OpenAI has introduced a new GitHub integration for its ChatGPT Deep Research, designed to provide answers to inquiries related to code. Google has implemented AI-driven tools aimed at safeguarding Chrome users from potential scams. Alibaba has developed Zero Search, an AI system capable of autonomously searching the internet, which has resulted in an 88% reduction in training expenses. The Indian government has issued a directive prohibiting Pakistani content amid escalating regional tensions. Bloomberg provides commentary on the growing alliance between Putin and Xi, which is challenging the US-dominated global order. A prosecutor in France has stated that the suspect in a mosque murder case acted without any ideological motivation. A recent investigation has uncovered that advanced Chinese weaponry, supplied by the UAE, has been found in Sudan, violating an arms embargo. Reuters has revealed that during Trump's administration, discussions about Saudi Arabia's civil nuclear program were separated from the issue of recognizing Israel, according to sources. The Telegraph has reported that in the UK, an alleged plot by Iranians targeting the Israeli embassy was an attempt to disrupt Iran-US nuclear negotiations, as UK police successfully thwarted this potential terror plot.
Expedia's quarterly revenue fell short of expectations due to sluggish travel demand in the United States, causing its stock to decline. The United Kingdom is set to reveal a $10 billion deal to buy Boeing aircraft, as confirmed by the U.S. Commerce Secretary. Robinhood is preparing to introduce a blockchain platform for trading U.S. assets in Europe.
Trump plans to halt funding for a digital equity law initiated by Biden, labeling it as racist and illegal. The Trump administration has also decided to discontinue a database that has been monitoring the financial impact of extreme weather events since 1980. The DEA, which previously praised body cameras for promoting enhanced transparency, is now moving away from using them. Leaders in the field of artificial intelligence are planning to advocate to senators for the acceleration of the permitting process for power supplies and to enhance access to government data. The Internal Revenue Service is reportedly aiming to substitute the enforcement workers who have been terminated with artificial intelligence solutions. There are claims that college students are intentionally incorporating typos into their papers generated by AI.
Amazon plans to allocate $4 billion towards enhancing its cloud infrastructure in Chile. OpenAI is set to invest in initiatives aimed at constructing AI infrastructure in international locations. The Trump administration intends to overturn and substitute the Biden administration's restrictions on global AI chip exports.
Kennedy has introduced a new database aimed at exploring the fundamental causes of autism, with RFK Jr. stating that this database will incorporate information from Medicare and Medicaid. Trump has selected Casey Means, a conspiracy theorist and wellness influencer, who lacks a medical license, to succeed a Fox contributor as the Surgeon General. CNN has reported that a militarized group of conspiracy theorists in the U.S. is convinced that radars are being used as weather weapons and is attempting to dismantle them. Malware has stolen 1.7 billion passwords, which are now being sold on the dark web. David Beckham and Gary Neville have finalized their takeover of the Salford City Consortium. Russia held a Victory Day parade to mark the 80th anniversary of the victory over Nazi Germany. The establishment of a new office in Phuket for Vanuatu's Golden Visa Program. Vanuatu's Golden Visa Program highlights the potential risks associated with selling citizenship. The UK is set to implement stricter rules for skilled worker visas, requiring applicants to possess degrees as part of a broader immigration reform. The Taliban has temporarily banned chess due to concerns about it being linked to gambling. France and Poland have committed to defending each other under a newly signed cooperation agreement. In a display of military strength, Putin organized a parade.
India has accused Pakistan of deploying as many as 400 drones to launch attacks on various cities and military bases. In a related development, Donald Trump announced that India and Pakistan have reached an agreement for a complete and immediate ceasefire. This announcement comes after the Indian Premier League (IPL) was indefinitely suspended due to the ongoing military conflict between the two nations. Despite the ceasefire agreement, reports of violations have emerged. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has released $1 billion to Pakistan and has approved a new program worth $1.4 billion. Trump advocates for an additional 20,000 officers to assist in deportation initiatives. The mayor of Newark is released following his arrest at a protest at an immigration facility, claiming, "I committed no wrongdoing." The U.S. Department of Education initiates an investigation into foreign funding at the University of Pennsylvania after finding erroneous and delayed financial disclosures from foreign sources.
Ukraine and Hungary have each expelled 2 diplomats amid a dispute over espionage. Reuters indicates that the United States is considering granting Greenland special status as its interest in the island grows. Bangladesh has prohibited the Awami League, the political party of the former prime minister, under terrorism legislation.
Pope Leo XIV has cited artificial intelligence as one of the influences behind his choice of papal name, indicating that he intends to closely adhere to the teachings of Pope Francis. He also acknowledges that AI poses a significant challenge for humanity. Donald Trump has dismissed the head of the Copyright Office just 2 days after a report suggested that using AI for training might not qualify as fair use. In response to criticism over its terms of service update, SoundCloud has stated that it has never utilized artist content to train its AI models, despite previous reports indicating a change in its AI policy to allow training on users' audio.
Southern accent, which is part of a broader national trend of changing regional accents. Chimpanzees employ certain language elements to communicate with one another, and they exhibit a consistent rhythm when they drum on tree trunks, an ancient method of communication. The upcoming sequel to Godzilla x Kong has been titled Supernova and has started production with a planned release in 2027.
The remains of soldiers V. Feldman, who had been missing for 43 years, have been retrieved from Syria by the Mossad and the IDF. A representative of Trump has confirmed that Hamas has consented to release the final surviving American hostage held in Gaza. A report indicates that a notorious Nazi war criminal played a role in establishing a major drug cartel and collaborated with Pablo Escobar.
The Wall Street Journal has reported that Donald Trump made a public promise to swiftly conclude 2 ongoing wars. However, in private conversations, he has expressed feelings of frustration regarding this matter. European leaders have indicated that Trump committed to imposing sanctions on Russia unless a ceasefire is reached.
And has reported that no ships from China are currently heading to California's major ports, a situation not observed since the pandemic. Poland accuses Russian intelligence of orchestrating an arson attack on a Warsaw shopping center last year, and has subsequently ordered the closure of the Russian consulate in Krakow, attributing the decision to the arson incident linked to Moscow. The NATO chief, as reported by the Dutch Prime Minister, is advocating for member countries to increase their defense spending to reach 5% of their GDP by the year 2032. A study by the People's Liberation Army in China indicates that the country, which is set to have over 100 nuclear reactors, could face the risk of some of these reactors being targeted during wartime.
CATL's $5.3 billion initial public offering in Hong Kong has successfully bucked the trend, marking the largest stock sale in the city since 2021. Bloomberg highlights that the tech industry is cautioning that U.S. investment commitments are contingent on the continuation of a research tax credit. TNR reports that manufacturers are expressing that former President Trump's policies have rendered it nearly impossible to establish factories in the United States. Furthermore, Bloomberg notes that Europe's gig economy is increasingly being dominated by U.S.-owned companies.
Malicious NPM packages have compromised over 3,200 users of the Cursor application by installing a backdoor and stealing their credentials. A software engineer working for Doge had their computer infiltrated by malware designed to steal information. Furthermore, a North Korean operative attempted to secure employment at a well-known cryptocurrency company but was caught off guard by a straightforward question related to Halloween.
Research indicates that individuals with a history of violence tend to interpret faces that are unclear or ambiguous as expressing anger. It has been found that professions such as teaching and librarianship are associated with a lower risk of suicide. Furthermore, a study proposes that engaging in meditation over an extended period might help alleviate stress and slow down the aging process.
Coffee shops are reportedly removing Wi-Fi and laptops in an effort to reduce the number of people working remotely from their premises. In a separate incident, Pearson, a major company in the textbook and testing industry, has been targeted by a cyber attack, resulting in the leakage of customer data. Nintendo has announced that it reserves the right to render its consoles unusable, or brick them, if they are used in an unauthorized manner, as part of its strategy to combat piracy.
The Food and Drug Administration has given its approval to the first ever at-home test that serves as an alternative to the traditional Pap smear. In a groundbreaking development, a new PTSD treatment has been introduced that involves stimulating a nerve located in the neck, resulting in the complete eradication of symptoms. Physicists have achieved a remarkable feat by transforming lead into gold, albeit for an extremely brief duration, as observed by the ALICE experiment at the Large Hadron Collider. In the United Kingdom, an artificial intelligence model has been developed using anonymized data collected from 57 million individuals. Insurance companies have introduced policies to provide financial protection against damages resulting from errors made by AI chatbots. A study has revealed that requesting brief responses from chatbots can lead to an increase in the occurrence of hallucinations.
New Scientist discusses the increasing severity of AI hallucinations, indicating that they are becoming a persistent issue. Klarna has decided to slow down its AI-driven job reductions by advocating for the continued employment of human workers. A study proposes that the use of AI can negatively